Greetings and welcome to the Inner Den. I am finally home. My goodness, I think we were just saying 3 episodes, 3 weeks I've been on the road, and the reset and the hibernation has been real for the last couple of days. Very curious to see how you guys are doing. Kristina, how is the integration going from their summer camp?
I could use a couple more days, to be honest.
Are you alive over there?
I'm a little bit tired. A little bit tired. Yeah. I think just this week and back to work and really just trying to be present in the moment a little bit more because not being present doesn't serve us. That's where anxiety is coming from. And it doesn't make a difference. So you might as well choose to be in the present. It's been my focus.
It is true. That's what you've been focused on for the last couple of days. And Mishawn, when we left you last week, you had some clearing out stuffs happening. How's that going?
I don't know that I've necessarily gotten to have all of the conversations that I would like to have, but all in the right time and the right place. So also surrendering to that flow piece of it. A lot of my frustration was coming, and what was mentioned last week was around work, and that has been better, and also taking ownership of what I'm creating, meaning just having to uphold my boundaries better. I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, but really I don't want to get to a position where when things are loaded on and you haven't said or expressed yourself, and this could just be a very Scorpio thing or something too, but you wait until the camel's back breaks and then you're just out, right? There's no course or remediation course to amend a relationship or stay in a situation that you're uncomfortable in. So I'm just really focusing on not wanting to repeat that pattern for myself in the future in any manner. It doesn't matter what relationship or what circumstance, because I don't, like Kristina was saying, it doesn't serve me, and it's a method of not being present. The not communicating and having it play out in your head 50 different ways and things like that, that's a way of not being present. So that's been that for me. And then the other thing that, my dog is 14 and she had a little bit of a rough weekend, and just trying to be present with her where she's at right now, and for me not to be too far down any path, because it is what it is right now and she's still here. Just really wanting to make sure that I'm present with her and the energy that I'm bringing to her situation right now, whether it's the final season or seasons, it doesn't matter. I want that to be, she's done so much for me over the years as far as being an emotional support companion and things that, taking some load off of her by staying calm and grounded and not emotional is probably a good thing to focus on. So that's where I've been.
That communication piece, hey? We've been circling that theme for a good month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're not the only one who does that kind of thing, like replaying what could happen in your brain over and over. Guilty. Yeah. Instead of talking to other people, I talk to myself.
Yeah. And we witnessed it in the den, the lack of communication and what happens, right? And so it just goes to show that is something that humans always have to work on. Yeah. That clear and healthy communication is part of our lessons here on Earth. And it's not easy, even for those of us who are really dedicated to not only learning it, but embodying it. And then, as we do here, modeling how to do it, we still struggle too. It just is. Yeah. And that's why I love that we show up every week and talk about it. And yes, I have definitely also been guilty of the I'm out space without the communication. And I think that is something that I have really worked on for the last couple of years and are getting better to it. And it's also honoring where the other people at. And sometimes it is just time to say, okay, I'm out. It's the discernment piece as to what they're bringing to the table. And only you can know for sure whether it's worth the time and energy for the conversation or whether the relationship is just done. And
Exactly.
that is a basis situation. Every time is going to be a different discernment level, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Best wishes on that for sure. And hopefully the
Yeah.
communication can still be ongoing. And the puppers, my heart goes out to you with the puppers. That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Yep.
Yeah, having to walk my little yogi down that road and the dementia and the watching the, yeah, it's, but I also believe in that journey, there's also medicine. It's holding space on a completely different level.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it
And
doesn't
it's,
matter that they're fur. It doesn't matter they have fur. They're still our loved ones, right?
yeah. And I think I mentioned you, and this is one of the reasons I mentioned to you, I had gotten introduced to mind sight classes via a podcast. So it started with, it's the telepathy tapes. Season 2 is all consciousness cassettes. So they've explored near death experiences, energy healers, animal communication, and telepathy. And then they ended with this mind sight class, and they are teaching it in several different countries where they're taking kids 10 where the left side of their brain isn't fully developed yet and blindfolding them and teaching them to see without sight. And these kids can read books. You'll hand them a book and they're able to read it. And it's just really with that development of that side of the brain. And again, it's the portion of me wanting to open up that channel with her. Yeah, can you tell me if there's anything else you need or how I can make you happier, more comfortable, any of these things, right? And also that whole other aspect of our energetic bodies and the realm that we do not see, the frequency that we don't see with our eyes or can't sense with the senses. And how many people think it's not real yet still use Wi-Fi every day and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was really grateful to experience some of that kind of telepathy thing that you're talking about with my old cat, Tommy, as he was the last year of his life. He was able to project his liver treats in my head that when he wanted his treat or when he wanted to do certain things. And that was the first time that I had experienced that level. I've always had intuitive and people, so many people in my life have called me Snow White and that attunement with animal space. But Thomas really took it to that next level. I can't do it with my puppies yet. They're only 3. He was 18. It also depends on their soul and what they were come here to do. And what I learned is just because they can't do it doesn't mean you can't do it. It depends on the animal, the connection, but we worked on it. So if you're already starting to work on it, what a great experiment. It's so fun. Yeah. And maybe now I'm just throwing things into the wind. This is just coming to me right now, but maybe when we get closer to that death line, we know the veil's thinner. So maybe the older animals that are walking that edge, maybe that's why Tommy could do it when he was older. Maybe. Who knows, right? It's all a guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But the thing I was listening to, animals can do it all the time. It's us who can't open up the channel to sense.
okay, yeah. Yeah. It is fascinating and I look forward to hearing more about that adventure to see if it gets stronger with you guys. For me, it was the visuals. It was
Yeah.
the getting the shooting the projecting the pictures into my head. Because, man, he loved his liver treats.
And that everybody that described it is exactly that. The animals project the image and into their heads. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so for me, even it brings a smile on my face. Like I feel like that was a gift given to
Yeah,
me by him, right? And
definitely.
it definitely helps when the crossover happens that you've got those things to hang on to and that they were our teachers too.
Yeah.
They teach us too. And like you said, the companion piece, like that's what dogs are here for, the human companions, right?
Yep.
So I love that you've had that experience with her. And I know Christina's cat's getting older too.
Yep, both of them are getting older. It sounds very rude to say I do not have the world's smartest cats.
It just is what it is. We love them exactly how they are.
But yeah, my oldest cat is almost 16. And there's definitely some dementia starting to set in with her. She does. She's not jumping high on counters anymore. I think she's got some bone aches and things like that. We notice her appetite's changing. And I think the dementia. So we have the slippers that she's a black and white tuxedo, and we have slippers that are black with a white cat base. And it was stuck between some furniture. And she doesn't like other cats. She attacked this slipper, growled and hissing and everything else till we pulled it out and showed her it was a slipper. She walked away with her tail between her legs. But we've also heard her tumble down the basement stairs.
Oh,
But
Kitten.
obviously, there's still a couple of those lives left.
Yeah. Yeah. The cycle of life continues even in the animal kingdom, right? And if anything, the humans are learning from them because we've been taught to fear death. And animals, they just do it. And they go through their grieving process and move on. I think they don't have the attachments humans have, but I have. When people wonder if animals are sentient beings, if they have feelings, I've watched horses grieve their babies. I've
Mm.
watched animals, witnessed animals grieving. When
And
Zeus grieved when Tommy died, I watched my baby grieve the cat.
I think some of them do have the attachments. They just don't necessarily show it in the same way. I have a cat who, if I go out at an unexpected time, like on a weekend, she sometimes cries for half an hour. There's attachment there.
oh yeah. Yeah. If you've ever known an animal whose owners died, there's definitely attachment.
Right?
I mean, as they know the difference between being left and the owner passing.
Leaving. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Well,
friend of mine just recently lost one of their dogs as well, and they have 2 other dogs, and those dogs were definitely grieving the loss too.
yeah. 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 It's a part of life being on this planet for sure. For sure. Yeah. And I think tying that into the cycles of life and even the cycles of the moon, we're literally sitting in full moon energy. Is it today or tomorrow that it's the highest?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow's it's at its full peak. Yeah, the letting go, the grieving process, that's what the full moons are for, is that big shed. And it's quite interesting after coming home from this summer camp, how soft this integration has been compared to most of the other returns that I've had. So I'm just stalking that a little bit as to, wow, this is interesting that this one is soft and sweet and beautiful. And yes, I'm exhausted. Yes. But it's not trauma exhausted. Do you know what I mean? It's the kid falling asleep in the spaghetti bowl, happy exhausted. So that's been very cool too, because I did my own grieving process and my own letting go while I was there too. But I think having a soft place to land when I came home made all the difference.
Wasn't your if you were to go back to what your original intent was for the summer camp, aren't those the feelings you were going for?
Ha!
Great
Good,
question.
great question. And yes,
Because I thought that's what I recall.
yes, exactly, exactly. And it didn't matter that there was big things that we all walked through. We all had our cry moment. We all did. And to still be able to come out the other side and just be soft. The softness, that's what I'm feeling. That's my word for this week is that the softness is coming back, but that's what happens when you reconnect deeply with your roots and your inner child. You don't feel like you have to have your sword and shield out all the time. It makes a difference.
I think it made a difference that we were a very small, intimate group as well.
Yes,
It does minimize drama a bit.
it's true. It's true. And like I think we said in the podcast last week too, that when we were sitting in that restaurant at the end, the last time,
Mhm.
and that baby ran up to us and they're like, "Oh, wrong family." Yeah, that was a really nice reflection back. So yeah, it's and so far this week, um, recapitulating what I've done, I have spent a ton of time in the sun doing absolutely nothing, and it's been great. It's been great, just allowing the integration. And so many people push when they get back. I was so glad that Kristina took a couple more days off before she had to get right back into work. It makes a difference. I can remember having the headaches and having the blowout, your energy blowouts, and trying to push through. And I think having that rest before you get back on the horse is what actually can move you forward even faster and not just disjointed. So that softness and that flow has stayed with me since we got home and has brought in two new opportunities for me. I am meeting with somebody Friday morning to discuss a collaboration, perhaps. And then I sent in a proposal to a very impactful human, which literally could change my life if that goes through. So I shot for the stars this afternoon, shot for the stars. And so we're going to hold some energy for that and see. I've been doing some dreaming with some pretty influential humans, and I brought it into the 3D realm about an hour before we got on this call. So that's exciting. So stay tuned for that. That's all I can tell you right now. But I hope to have big news next week.
And I think going back to work, the practice, the mindfulness, the trying to be present, realizing that there's really a fine line between you can plan for the future without living in the future, without
Right.
trying to constantly chase and do it. Okay, yes, you still need to plan for it. You need to know you're going to get this stuff done, but then step back and just let it unfold.
Yeah.
Well, you got to let the universe have space to create the magic, right? You put in the recipe and then stand back and say, "Show me what you got."
I create the magic. Anyway.
It's a co-create. A co-create. Yes. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And I would just like to also honor how well you did, Kristina, in the camp with your new situation with navigating diabetes and having to bring the insulin on the trip. And this is the first time you had to navigate that space.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool to be able to hold that and assist you through that. And how do you feel it went?
I think it went pretty well, other than a giant scar on my leg from a needle that got a little out of hand, but
Yeah, you dropped it on your lap or something?
because we were moving and okay, so learning, I thought, "Oh, it's a needle this tiny, this big, and I could do this while we're driving, while we're pulling out of the drive-through." I could not change it and juggle everything, so it just got a little got away a little bit.
Like a
So
4-inch scrape down your thigh a little bit?
maybe 2 2-inch ones that crossed. So, uh, yeah, so, I had to learn
Rubbing
to
it
say, "Hey, okay, you know what? It's okay to say, can we just pull up and stop for a minute?"
instead of trying to be inconspicuous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's another lifestyle, right? It's an undoing in something that you had to learn how to do, right?
And I didn't die,
You didn't. Yay.
which is the ultimate goal most days.
Most days. Yes, yes, it is. Yes. So what do we have going on for next week? What are we looking towards? We were stalking thriving still, looking for more thriving. And Mishawn, we did talk about your communication stuff. Was there any closer to thriving this week? Because last week you talked about the clear out had to happen so that the thrive could come. Are we any closer to that?
You mean to, I think that thriving is also a choice, right? And one of the things that we mentioned was noticing the difference between how the word healing feels in the body and how the world thriving feels in the body. So I've really been approaching it with more of a curiosity thing. What does thriving feel like in this situation, or what would that feel like, right? So I've been playing with that some, and as I was working and doing some yard work on Sunday, I was asking myself, are you thriving today? This is, you like to do gardening stuff. This was associated with the garden. It might not have been something I was super excited to do, meaning it was more like, it's like a garden frame maintenance repair stuff. It wasn't actually planting anything, but stuff that needed to be taken care of. So yeah, it was a good thing. In the moment, it was like, yeah, I am. I'm in the sunshine. I had just gone and had picked up lunch and ended up having lunch with the crew as they were getting off work. They're friends of mine, and it just ended up being a good day, despite having on the flip side this eye on my dog. Is she feeling better? Is she gonna eat dinner tonight? That type of thing. So having those two things, those juxtapositions in my whole frame, and then still being able to say, yes, I am, I can say I'm thriving. Is it at 100% thriving the way, like, no, I probably was down in the 70 percentile. There's a couple of things that would make it better. Again, it's that choice point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're always making choices, and I think even today I was super busy at work and saying, "Okay, no, you have to stop. You need to sit down and have lunch and just take a break and not eat at your desk because you have a lot to do. No, you need to take a break because it changes your mind frame, your mindset when you stop and take a break." And I don't ever think I thought of it like that before, that when you don't take a break and you just plow through and push through, you forget and you start to think, "Oh, this is my life," but work is not your life. And when you stop and take that break and just remember, it just puts things in more perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're certainly good at pushing through. That's a lot of our undoings right now, is to
Mhm.
not push,
Yeah.
not rely heavily on the warrior aspect of ourselves, and to come back into balance.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think for me, the soft integration is part of the thrive because usually I'm trying to survive the retreats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I feel I nailed the homework. coming into a thrive space instead of survival out of the retreat.
Yeah.
So that's a huge shift for me. So looking forward to more of those. I will definitely be doing that again. And like Kristina said, small does not mean less. What we experienced was small was more powerful. So there was a rewrite in my brain about that too, that you don't have to have 30 people. You just don't. And sometimes that's where the chaos happens because
The clicks go.
Yeah.
and
I
how are you getting one-on-one healing? Like all three of those people, they got individual hands-on healing from me. I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that with 30 people.
Would you have
That
been
are,
able to do it with your original number that you were targeting
I would have split it up. I would have done
mm,
at
4 a
each
day.
stop?
Yeah,
Yeah,
four
yeah.
4 a day for 3 days. But these guys got lots because there was only a few of them, right? And sometimes it pays to go on the smaller retreats because then you get more one-on-one. It's more individualized. And when you go on these great big retreats with 30 to 50 people, it's a different energy. You don't get the individualized treatments.
well,
So
when
there's
you have
something
yeah, when you have to spend all your energy herding cats, so to speak, because all these people are going in different directions, what's left?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because I actually hadn't even advertised that there was going to be individual healing sessions. I just did it because in the moment I was called to and wanted to, and it aligned to the point where it was inevitable it was going to happen. So it worked out really great. What's happening physically for me is because we were in the fire smoke area, my lungs are still recovering. Yeah, the vocal cords and the throat, because doing those healing sessions, I do a lot of deep breathing and I can still feel it a week later deep in my lungs. Yeah. Not every retreat is going to be in smoke-filled areas either. I'm just grateful the divine timing of it all, that the air stayed relatively clear for us to even
Mhm.
do the retreat. And the second we closed and the next day when we started heading back, we were socked in. So
You
very
got some
great.
good tea for your respiratory system?
Yeah, I've been living on tea and honey and yeah, ginger, honey, ginger tea. That's been the staples. And medicine, nasal spray, all the things. However, the Kimberly fire, the whole city was on evacuation alert, and that's been rescinded. So yay! My hometown, my mom's hometown, is still alive and did not burn to the ground. So we're very grateful about that.
Good. It's
So
wonderful.
for now, fingers crossed, we're halfway through summer.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had said something about coming into balance and stuff too, and as we march towards September, which seems really far off right now, but is really only 6 weeks away. Or at least the fall equinox is only 6 weeks away. Coming up to that max fire to come back down into a more equal day night energy that comes with fall, as that bright, fiery sun energy starts to come down the backside.
And for us Leos, that peak is coming very soon. Very soon.
Yeah.
The Lionsgate portal is coming. There's 2 eclipses. Yeah, there's going to be some. Yeah, before we get to that balance, there's going to be a little bit of an explosion. Especially in my world, it's very interesting how this is all lined up. This new human that I am seeing, His birthday is the 11th, which is 4 days after my birthday. And we're heading to the lake for an entire week to go ride the 8-8 portal. So hang on to your hats, humans. Should be saying hang on to my own hat. I have no idea what's so that's going to be, yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of a peak before we come back down to that to September time. And also with me meeting with this potential partnership opportunity Friday morning, right as August is starting. I feel some excitement coming. I've been drudging through the mud for the last 6 months, and I feel like this retreat and the energy that we transmuted and the things that have lined up since I got home, I'm really excited for August. I'm really excited for August. So we shall see what happens. And homework, I'm loving the thrive. I'm loving just watching for the thrive. That seems to be working for us all. I feel a mindset shift in the language and how we're moving forward with that. Because where our attention goes, even though it's that subtle, it makes a difference. And I think that's great that we're into that season of the fine tuning. The big chops with the axes we're out of, and we're coming into that fine tune. Where else can we fine tune?
Well, yeah, you should be in your blooming, and like you're saying, a little bit of pruning here to get the best blooms so that come harvest season. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And keep the water flowing because it's going to get hot in August. So we still want that fire balanced with flow because we still need to honor water. Water still has a place here, has to. And it's hard for us that carry so much fire. That is the lesson, is to just let the water come in and flow. But having access to so many different places of water last week in that summer camp, like we were honoring the glacial water that was coming down that canyon, the lakes, the hot springs, how many different hot springs, to be able to just tap into that energy and carry it. That's my visual, is just remembering those places, tapping back into that energy. When you start getting fiery, what is your visual of water? And where can you take your body back into it and meditate into it again?
That's something that's been wild for me just this past week, because we had all that rain. For me to have a creek flowing through my property, to be able to step outside in the middle of the day, even if I don't want to walk all the way down there, which isn't that far, I can hear it from the front porch just standing out there. And it's been amazing to
It's
have
pretty
just
wild
that sound of water flow.
It's pretty wild that happened to you while we were on our trip. The water came through your property. Tee-hee. Just sending you some water over there.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we get a little bit more next month so we can kind of keep it up out here for a little while. It'd be really nice.
Yeah. When's your next Mitote ceremony?
It is the weekend after Halloween.
Okay, so it's
from
still
November 7th. It'll be the next water season, so Scorpio season. And I actually am working on it. I'm gonna go out to Miami for a couple events, and then I'll end up doing a fire walk here, but it'll be the weekend before Halloween. So Firewalk weekend before Halloween. Halloween is actually on a Saturday this year, and then the following weekend will be the Matote.
Scorpio season, yay, your element. So exciting. That's great. So we're going to keep looking for thriving. And anything else you want to add before we sign off? Kristina? What are you looking for thriving this week?
I think specifically, I think it's just around how can you make life a little bit easier? And sometimes that might be action, but sometimes it's just attitude,
Truth.
right? Having to work with a lot of clients in the last couple days, and sometimes you just want to be confrontational. You're like, for whatever reason. Sometimes you just think, no, but to step back and go, okay, wait, no, I'm here to help you, and just letting it flow instead of having to be right can sometimes make things easier. And that's a hard one for Leos sometimes.
As you're integrating from your full expansion, yes. Good job. All right, then. We will see you all next week.
Bye.